So it looks like there's some sad news today if you are an iiRcade fan, or an iiRcade, as I like to call it. If you're a fan, some sad news for the company as a whole, as they did announce earlier today on a live stream that essentially they're going out of business, that it's gone, it's over with. But hope is not all lost, as there are some things in the work that's going on that may extend the lifespan of these machines. Doesn't look like these machines are still on sale. Like, I noticed they were marking them down for a while now. These ones are all sold out, the gold ones, and then the original editions. There's nothing available. Everything's just sold out, other than this tempered glass screen protector. So I guess they've been liquidating their stock with these sales they've been putting on. But now they've announced, like, hey, if you bought one, this is it. No new games are coming to this thing. It's over with. They don't know. The one question I have is, I watched that stream and I kind of got to the point where they're talking about the store, and it was like these guys weren't on the same page. They kind of had to correct some information there, but it seemed like as long as the servers are up, the store is still going to be available. But they don't know when the servers are going to get shut down. Like, it's out of their hands type of thing. So as long as the servers are up, you'll have access to the store. But if you've already bought things, you have games on your machine, it's fine. The servers shut down, you own that digital content, you're good. But just no new games are going to come to it. Now, with my interactions with these people, I've only had a couple, and this was a long while ago, which I did find funny, and I kind of find funny with what's going on now, as far as, all right, we got to retread this. I know Jong from iiRcade posted a reply when I had talked about this, replying to somebody else, that they agree with this person completely. Both these were horrible posts, even from my eyes. Our sincere apologies. These are not the views of the iiRcade, and I will monitor more carefully. So what was going on back then was they were promoting their machine a couple years back, saying how pirating is bad. Okay, like, pirating video games is illegal, can result in lawsuits. Developers deserve the funding. It's possible to lose online gaming privileges. Most of the time, the games won't even work. A lot of BS, honestly. And they got some flack for it, so they backtracked on it. And they posted this: the iiRcade versus the Raspberry Pi runs on its own system. Raspberry Pi does not replace your system. Says who, right? iiRcade is easy to set up, about 30 minutes, time-consuming and complex for the Pi. Every game's fully licensed. Hey, you use the Raspberry Pi, you going to jail. You getting sued. Fully licensed games means we support developers. ROM's not supporting developers of games that came out 30, 40 years ago. So I brought that. That's the only time I ever talked about it, because I thought these posts were ridiculous. But they deleted them. They retracted them. They removed them. Those posts disappeared. They replied in my tweet about this stuff, how, yeah, it was a mistake. They didn't mean that. But I kind of felt like at the time that was just them kind of trying to save face a little bit, because, hey, you have multiple markets here. People who love retro games. And if you're going to badmouth one option, maybe you're going to lose that segment of the market. People who like to do DIY stuff, who like to build a Raspberry Pi, an emulation machine on their own, and not pay for these 30, 40-year-old games on this hardware through an online shop. Or maybe they want to kind of supplement it and do both. I don't know, man. Like, I do both. I buy retro games when they're available. But at the same time, there's so many games out there that just there's no access to. So, hey, you have no other choice unless you want to buy a $100, $500 cartridge for an old system and buy that system. Developers aren't getting paid for it. I'm not going to sit here defending emulation or people's choices, how they want to, however you want to play is fine. I don't care. Like, pirate all you want, man. It doesn't really matter to me. But hey, bringing products forth that allow options is great. But attacking another option that's in the homebrew DIY community, that was kind of lame, right? But like I said, they stated, Jong here, he stated that that wasn't, it wasn't cool. They retracted that. They deleted those posts. So fine. But I still had felt, because like the system wasn't opened up at any point, that that was still their stance. They wanted to make those dollars or pennies off of each game sold on their shop type of thing. So yeah, they weren't going to support like side loading games, stuff like that, right? But watching this presentation, they brought Glenn on from Glenn's Retro Show. I know Glenn; he's a good guy. Works with companies, gets a lot of these products out there, kind of fixing issues with certain products, making his own products. There's this whole community of retro gaming enthusiasts, arcade machine enthusiasts, these reproduction machines, and he's produced stuff that kind of brings some of that those products to the next level. He was working on some products for the iiRcade as well with his little panel here, the GRS Ultimate Control Panel for the iiRcade. It looked like he's doing like 500 pre-orders for this thing, but it's like, okay, it's a control panel. You got 2 spinners, you got a trackball, a few other things. We'll bring that up right here on the Thunderstick Studio site. $169. $169. I don't know how many iiRcades have sold. There's definitely in the thousands at minimum, maybe tens of thousands. I don't really know the numbers. I don't think those numbers are out there, but I know from their initial offering, they sold a few thousand when they first came out. So I feel like maybe it kept building up. So they probably have a decent number out there of fans, right, who bought 1, maybe 2 machines, because they have had like special edition machines and whatnot. So this control panel, this is not what I find funny. I just find funny that in this presentation, there's like, hey, if there's interest in this panel, that we can expand upon things if people want it. So we'll talk about that in a quick second here. So this panel, it just utilizes 4 8-way automatic restrictor gate. With this panel, you gain not only unparalleled control, superior connectivity. It features 2 external USB interfaces compatible with the Sinden light gun and other USB controllers. So that allows a lot of, add-ons, right? Either Glenn's other products that he makes or other controllers that you have. So that's kind of cool. That is pretty cool. If you already have one of these machines, maybe something like this will be a no-brainer. But back to this whole presentation, they got to a point where you see he's playing on the iiRcade. He's not playing games that are native to the system. He talks about in this video how he'll have like if there's interest in it, there'll be like and I saw a lot of people in the chat, they were excited for this, like a single board computer switcher type of thing. Maybe you could, you put another system in there, doesn't compromise the integrity of the original system. You still keep it stock. It's just an add-on that, hey, like will utilize the display in the control panel. You switch over, now you have a Raspberry Pi with RetroPie or Batocera or something, right? Bring back like, so to me, it's kind of like, hey, what's going on here? I thought the iiRcade didn't like this kind of stuff, but the company's like, hey, let's let it happen, right? We're no longer gonna be making these machines, so who cares? Let people plug in a Raspberry Pi and use their illegal ROMs, and they could be liable for lawsuits. That's why I kind of found it funny. I find it cool, but I find it funny just going back a couple years to this stuff from these guys with how like they were against like no sideloading, no pirating. Now it's like they're excited for it. They're like, hell yeah, this is gonna increase the longevity of this system. High fives all around. Sweet. People will get use out of it. But when they were making money off of their systems, they were selling them, and they were putting pre-orders out there, advertising. No piracy. But now, piracy. Let's do it. Hey, I'm glad that hopefully that happens for people who have this machine, that Glenn can get the interest needed for these products to support that community. I find it a little funny, but it also seems like a necessary thing because the company's gone. They're not going to be there anymore. So Glenn's coming in to be like, hey, let's keep this damn thing going and play whatever you want on it and keep your machine stock where you're just adding on this stuff, but you could still access your original purchased, games and all that. I find that cool. I find that better than actually modifying the system and gutting the components and putting in a Raspberry Pi. Because I wouldn't like to buy these machines were a little expensive when they first came out. But and they started marking them down $300-$400 for a full setup. I wouldn't want to buy something like that and gut it. I wouldn't want to gut it and turn it to something else. Like there's other options for that. So it's cool, for somebody like Glenn to do something like that. Hopefully it works out. People who bought this machine there's people who recently bought one. They're like kind of annoyed. Like, can I get my money back? It's just ridiculous. But hey, good job on Glenn there, Don't know what's going on with these iArcade people, but hey, you know, very minimal interactions with them. They've at some point, I don't know why. Like I said, I've only ever talked about that piracy thing with them, but at some point they used to come into my live streams, and Jong he claimed that it wasn't them. But it was at the time where you could go to channel, like in a live stream, you could click person's name and go to channel, and it led to their legit channel. So it was somebody in the iArcade, you know, company using their official, you know, maybe it was somebody hack it. I don't know. Doesn't make sense that they would, because this was happening on other channels too. Somebody with the iArcade channel going into my live stream talking crap, going into, I remember a few other people who brought it up, like they were going into my live stream talking crap that I associate with you and you hate the iArcade. I'm like, I never said I hated it. I just talked about that weird Raspberry Pi post they made. It was kind of weird. Like it just kind of is in the back of my head, and just kind of remembered it right now that they were doing that. They were jumping in my live streams talking crap. Why do you hate the iArcade? Why are you spreading lies about the? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You have some kind of grievance? Like, message me, because I have no clue what you're talking about. I thought we resolved the piracy thing. You guys said that it was a mistake, and you won't post stuff like that. Whatever, man, whatever. But that's the news of the day. Appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think. Bye.